Welcome back. So this week, thousands of students will return to class in the GTHA, and over the next 2 weeks, 2 million will do the same across the province. Whether it's in person or at home learning, things will be very different. But the Ford government hopes to reassure parents, students, and educators alike about safety and quality of education. For more right now, I'm joined live by Education Minister Stephen Lecce. Good morning to you, Minister.
Good morning.
Okay, so this is the beginning. We've been talking about this for the last couple of months, and there has been a lot of criticism over the last couple of months. What is your number one message today as we start with these rolling openings?
I think the main message is one of confidence in our system, in our outbreak management protocol, in the professionalism of our educators and our principals, and of the can-do attitude, I think, of all of us as a province. I am inspired and I'm proud of our students, and I'm proud of our parents. No matter what the decision they've made, the fact some things can stay the same, there's enduring truths notwithstanding the pandemic. Quality education is so important. Positive mental health is critical. And access to learning and to their teacher. And we're ensuring those fundamentals remain in place while keeping these kids safe. I really do believe that what we have developed is thoughtful, it's fully funded, it's evidence informed, it's been supported by the Chief Medical Officer, and we're going to get students back. We're staggering our starts, Melody, to make it safe, get this right. And I just really want to emphasize the importance of staying positive and encouraging young people who may face additional challenges today in the coming days in the context of their mental health to seek support. We've increased investment by over $30 million, working with partners like Kids Helpful. And I think it's really important for young people to learn if they're online or they're remote, no matter what, they're going to be supported.
Minister, I think understandably there's a lot of anxiousness. There's a lot of concern from, again, parents, teachers, educators, students. I want to get to the latest news out of Ottawa and seeing some schools already with cases of COVID-19. Does this concern you?
Well, you know what the Chief Medical Officer has said is that what will happen in our schools is a reflection of what's happening in our communities, and we have to do as much as we can, Melanie, to flatten this curve. The fact that numbers have increased a tad in the past days, I think, is a bit concerning, and I think it has to underscore the necessity of us as a province to not regress. We have sacrificed personally, economically, for our own health and wellness. We need to keep going. And that increase, I think, is a concern, what we've seen in Ottawa. What I can say is that in those situations where it's arisen in that community, local public health under local doctor and the leadership have immediately stepped in. Contact tracing has been going on for the past many days. And there's an element of immediacy in the response. And I think we have to be ready for these types of challenges, particularly in the context of influenza. But our systems are ready. We have the training of our staff. We've got testing in place and additional layers of prevention we put in place in the province that uniquely positions us to get through this challenge.
Minister, do you have specifics on some of these schools that are involved? Because I know when there were 47 schools in Quebec, you had mentioned, well, they don't have the same masking policies. Well, in Ottawa, and correct me if I'm wrong, they did have a masking policy, and we are still seeing cases. So what kind of learnings are coming out of there that will be applied into schools here in the GTHA?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, local public health is leading the response to any outbreak within or any challenge or positive or suspected case within a community. I think masking is a fundamental differentiator. Obviously, in Quebec, they don't have that. We do. We also, in the province of Ontario, have significantly stepped up our testing protocol, and we've enhanced cleaning significantly in our schools. I think what the Chief Medical Officer has encouraged, particularly over this weekend, is getting the fundamentals right. Making sure young people know how to use a mask, and ultimately ensuring that they are comfortable with a new reality. It's why we took steps that a few other provinces just have not done. We've staggered the start of school. We've given more latitude to school boards to mask below grade 4. And we've obviously made sure that every single layer of prevention has been put in place, supported by the Chief Medical Officer, because for the Premier and for I, the bottom line is we just want to make sure that these kids can stay in school and stay safe while doing so.
Minister, let's walk through this, because a lot of parents have the questions about the what if, right? So let's say parents are sending their kids back to school. What is the exact protocol? And I know it changes and it varies depending on the individual case, but what is the protocol should there be a case? And is there a threshold in which a quarantine for the entire cohort will need to be put into place, or a school potentially locked down?
Yeah. What happens immediately when there's a suspected case is the educator will inform the principal that student will be put into will be isolated, obviously away from the class. The local public health authority is immediately called. They're the lead on this. They're going to be responding and providing leadership as they have in childcare or in a small business or a restaurant, anywhere. That's going to be their responsibility, as it always has been. And they've been acting so far in those communities where we've seen that challenge. The school board is informed, the parent is informed, the child will be asked to be picked up. Obviously, encouraging parents to take so seriously the self-assessment tool. I know parents do this every year, Melanie, but now more than ever, I would argue a very cautious approach. If your child has any symptoms according to that assessment tool, please keep your kids home. The child will then be removed from the class, and the local health authority will make a determination based on the proximity of the contact. If those kids were, based on their understanding and their analysis, in close contact, then there may be a requirement to have those children stay home for a period of time. It won't necessarily always be 14 days, but it could be, depending on the severity. And of course, those children will be afforded access to online learning through live, synchronous Zoom-style classes for those kids. So the continuity of learning continues, but obviously safety is paramount.
Minister, I think we can agree. We are constantly learning more about the virus. We're learning about how to handle it. Is there any wiggle room? Because obviously there's been pushback from some parents and unions and legal challenges as well to say, listen, these class sizes are just too high, especially in the elementary level. Will your government make any changes in the next month, 2 months? If you're seeing some feedback and you're seeing cases, could there be some changes?
Yeah, absolutely. We've set aside $50 million, Melanie, in additional funding to deal with challenges that could arise in the next 30, 60 days, particularly, when you think of a second wave or influenza with the flu season around the corner. I spoke to the Minister of New South Wales, Australia, a few weeks ago, and they're getting hit with their second wave, of course, ahead of us. And the lesson there was to make sure the fundamentals are well in place, and obviously to encourage parents to get their kids vaccinated for a variety of other vaccines, particularly for the flu, and we're encouraging parents to do that. But we've also have about $360 million set aside for January as well to scale up our investment. What the Premier and I have said, he said as a father, myself as an uncle, and just all of us as citizens of this province, is we will do whatever it takes. And so if there's additional risk on the horizon and additional layers of prevention have to be introduced, we will do so. We will do so as we have every step of the way through the summer with a plan that I think leads the nation in investment. But beyond the money, it's what we have in this province that allows us to respond, Melanie, like nursing in our schools, doubling that capacity, as well as more testing and availability of testing for our kids and for our educators. I really do think in this province we have a thoughtful plan. It's been fully supported by the chief medical officer, but it allows us to respond to the challenge. And I just want to say I'm proud of everyone involved, of our educators on the front lines today, our principals, and our kids, who I think are inspired and excited. It's the one time in my lifetime, every student I've asked, are you excited to go back to school? They are so determined. They want to get back and to see their friends. And I think that's promising. So we just have to stay positive and continue to follow public health advice, and we'll get through this.
Minister, I think we can agree our children and educators, they are resilient. We will get through this, and let's hope we can get through this together in a way that is as safe as possible. Thank you for your time, Education Minister Stephen Lecce. Appreciate it.
Thank you.